California's 50th Congressional District has been without a representative since January when Duncan Hunter resigned after pleading guilty to a corruption charge. But come November 3rd, voters will elect a new representative. The district encompasses the central and northeastern parts of San Diego County and a small part of Riverside County. Democratic contender Amar Campanajjar will join us in our next half hour, but right now we're joined live by Republican contender and former representative for the 49th Congressional District, Darrell Issa, who joins us from Main Street Donuts in El Cajon. Congressman Issa, thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you, Carlo, and thanks for this. The reason I'm here is that, like most things in politics, these flyers come out, and in this case, this flyer not only disparaged me, but it stated that Main Street was closed when in fact it had reopened and has been open, and you can get great donuts and sandwiches here right at 172 East Main. So I wanted to make sure that was the most important part, is they're open for business, they need your business.
Well, let's roll into that then. What do you think is the biggest issue facing people in the 50th District right now, and how are you going to address it?
The biggest thing facing is reopening of businesses. Some of it obviously will continue to be a state and local matter, but the federal government has to get back to the business of making sure we empower the ability of people to work safely. We've done a lot, but there's a lot more to do. Obviously, gridlock. You know, I left Congress for 2 years and it fell apart. I mean, the ability for people to come together and at least meet the requirements for PPE and additional PPP as needed, these kinds of things are going to be number one. Getting back safely to work, obviously getting our kids back to school, but right now I'm here because these companies are struggling. This company got its PPP, but it still couldn't get the numbers back up. The owners here did something inventive. They subletted part of it and were able to reopen with a reduced rent that allows them to continue to give full service here to the people of El Cajon.
Congressman Issa, the 50th has seen its share of massive wildfires over the years. What do you think is to blame for the current California wildfire crisis, and what is the long-term solution?
Well, the long-term solution is to reduce the amount of material to be burned through thinning and controlled burns when we can. But, you know, I came to California in the 1970s as a young Army officer, and I immediately got on a bulldozer and went to work, quite frankly, fighting a fire that went on for more than a month near Monterey, near Fort Ord. The fact is that we also have to make sure we have the federal, state, and local assets to quickly put the fires out so they don't go on for months. A fire addressed quickly with things like the C-130J models and so on is a fire that doesn't go on for months and doesn't threaten homes. You know, as you know, if you can put out a fire quickly, then you can deal with it. If it gets out of control, you just have to let it burn, and that can't be allowed.
As a longtime representative, you understand this. The country seems more divided than ever right now. How are you going to work to bridge that gap?
Well, during my tenure, I worked across the aisle, passed and sent to multiple presidents dozens and dozens of pieces of bipartisan legislation. Probably one of the more difficult, fairly partisan ones was cutting the benefits, the retirement benefits for members of Congress. But you know, whether it was immigration reform, a lot more to be done, or modernizing how we deal with patents in the courts and so on, or getting more crossings at San Ysidro in Otay Mesa. Those have been areas in which our delegation, the chamber has seen it year after year. We've been able to set aside and work together. And whether it was Scott Peters or Juan Vargas or myself, or Susan Davis, we've got countless pieces of legislation that we worked on together and got passed. Knowing people and working with them, building relationships is how you do it. Not everything can be bipartisan, but everything that goes to the president almost ends up being bipartisan, and it should be.
And Congressman Issa, we have about a minute left. I want to give you a chance to tell people what makes you the best person to represent the 50th Congressional District.
Well, notwithstanding what you'll always see on television during an election, I have 18 years of an unblemished record, one in which I was able to accomplish both the oversight of government and getting legislation passed. I'm prepared and excited to go back and do just that. I fit this district. I represented more than a third of it until redistricting, and that phone is now off. And ultimately, I'm prepared to do exactly that, go back and get the job done, something that, seniority and experience shows I can do. And again, I've done it for 18 years without a blemish, not an ethics violation, nothing. And that can't be said of some of the people that have held this district in the past, but it can be said of my record.
Congressman Darrell Issa running for the 50th Congressional District. Thank you for your time. Again, for our viewers, you'll hear from his challenger, Amar Campa-Najjar, coming up in our next half hour. Thank you, Congressman.
Thank you.